everybody. It's Allie, and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, January 2nd, 2022. Oh, the nerve of Devon! The nerve that man has! Walking up into Abby's house and right next to Abby's husband, asking to get more time with Abby's son in writing. In writing! It is not even so much about him asking for more time with Dominic, but asking for it in writing. That's what really galls me. I don't mind Devon opening up about his feelings. I totally get where Devon is coming from. His brain got him into a situation that his heart cannot handle. The emotions of it all are not all that uncommon. The emotions of it all I can totally understand. Devon thought that this would all be black and white. And now come to find out, it's not black and white. But to say, can I get it in black and white? Can I get it in writing? Implies, I think, that Devon is looking for entitlement. He wants someone to validate his entitlement. And it's like he doesn't trust Abby and Chance to give him the time that he thinks he deserves with Dominic. It's a breach of trust. It's a real breach of trust here. And contract, if you want to get down to it. Oh, but hats and scarves off to Brighton James. I mean, he really played it this week. He really played Devon's vulnerability and nervousness in those scenes. I will tell you, the snapshot of the week that just has been lingering in my mind is Devon standing there in front of Abby and Chance, wringing his scarf in his hands, waiting to find out what their response was going to be. Just the image of him holding that scarf and moving it around in his hands and crinkling it and just seeming so nervous and so vulnerable. Oh, that's my moment of the week. And Abby and Chance did not even know what kind of look to put on their faces when they were listening to the words that were coming out of Devon's mouth. Chance just kind of very quickly saw Abby's reaction to it all and scooted Devon out the mansion so that he could talk to Abby privately. And Chance immediately started blaming himself because of the conversation that he had had a couple of weeks ago with Devon at the bar, where he allowed himself to open up and be vulnerable with Devon, only now to feel like it was being thrown back in his face. And Abby took a little bit to get there, because at first, Abby almost seemed to be sticking her head in the sand about the whole thing, kind of hoping it would all go away, hoping it would all work itself out. But I was so glad that toward the end of the week, Abby let her mama bear mode kick in, and I was glad to see her confront Devon like, what the heck, man? We had a deal. And Abby wasn't even leaning on that part of the whole thing. Honestly, Abby didn't even mention like, hey, we had a deal, you're going back on it here. Abby was more so taking personal offense that Devon might be doing this and asking for this because he had now become uncertain of her parenting skills. Because Abby left Dominic with Devon when she went to Spain because she trusted Devon. And now Abby feels betrayed that Devon would have interpreted her vulnerability as a weakness or as an ineptitude. And that hurts coming from someone who is supposed to be your friend. Devon was not expecting this reaction. Abby has been very, very open to Devon, very giving toward Devon. She has encouraged Devon's connection with Dominic at every step along the way. And I don't think Devon saw it coming that Abby wouldn't just continue on in that spirit. But as it stands now, Devon has submitted a request. And that is a request that can be approved or denied by Abby and or Chance. Ooh, and both ways have consequences. I can't wait to figure out and see where Abby's going to land on this, because approving Devon's request certainly has a consequence. And it was sort of where her mind went initially. It was sort of her first reaction was, this might be a little too close for comfort. This might actually undermine the family building that we're trying to do. And Abby said, we have to do what's best for our family here. But to Abby's credit, very much to Abby's credit, she has the foresight and the maturity and the wisdom to at least realize that Devon and Dominic's relationship is going to happen. Whether she likes it or not, whether she's comfortable with it or not, whether it's today, tomorrow, 10, 20 years down the road, that is a connection that's going to happen. So she has to be careful. Because denying Devon's request also has a consequence. It can alienate him. Things have been really friendly up until now, but with all of these high emotions involved, it really wouldn't take much to tip one of them over the edge into ugly. And now it's ugly. Now it's gone from friendly to ugly. Boom. Finally. Finally! From a viewing perspective. Like, this is the November sweeps moment that I've been waiting for since November. Finally! This is where we get some juicy drama. We have endured this story for a year now, and this is where we get some juicy drama. Because Abby did mention their contract this week. She did mention that she thinks it's ironclad, but then Chance kind of muttered something about how, she did it without his approval or without when he wasn't here. So I don't know, maybe that creates some kind of a legal loophole. Yes. Yes, I'm sure we're going to be looking for a legal loophole. As soon as Amanda and Imani are all done picking their new curtains for the new office, their first two clients are going to walk through the door and we are going to have a legal battle on our hands. This has been a week of new friendships forming. New friendships for the new year. Because first of all, I don't remember Chelsea and Abby having much to do with each other before. But this week they were catching up. They were kind of going deep. I mean, they were talking about their relationships. They were talking about parenting and just life in general. And then we also had, at the same time, Adam and Chance seeming to patch things up or smooth them out, too. I think Chance is not fully ready to open up to Adam as a friend, but the groundwork is there. He did think twice about it and make the decision to talk to Adam a little bit. So I think I can see them growing closer in the future. And also we have Noah and Adam becoming closer in the future too. I can see that and I really like that. But I gotta tell you, my very favorite new friendship, the unexpected friendship, was Tessa and Sally. Whoa, man. Those two have barely crossed paths ever. But now that they have, I'm kind of wondering why it didn't happen sooner. Why didn't I think of that? They're two artists, two outcasts. Well, kind of one outcast and one former outcast. but they're around the same age. They're both pursuing their dreams, trying to make it in this crazy town. Yeah, I really like it. Noah did not like it. Noah was very quick to let Tessa know what he thought about it and that he didn't approve of this new friendship because of Sally's feud with Summer. But, I think Tessa is the comeback queen here. She's the perfect person to have a friendship with Sally. Tessa has crawled her way back up into everyone's good graces. Even Sharon. I think Sharon and Tessa had a lot of tender, wonderful moments this week, too. And I think Tessa's the perfect person to, advocate for Sally getting her second chance. Her third second chance. Might even be more than that. Yeah, I think this could be really good. I was a little flabbergasted, though, that Sally would dare bring up the diary incident with Tessa. She said, that she heard about the whole diary incident. And I thought, well, gee, maybe you might not want to bring that up when you're trying to make friends with someone. It's an indiscretion of Tessa's. I'm sure she doesn't really want to talk about it with just anybody and everybody. So I thought Sally probably could have kept that under the hat, but maybe she was kind of using it to equalize. I'm not sure. And also, Tessa's new album is called City Diaries, so I guess, all right. Tessa didn't seem to mind talking about it. She definitely wasn't hiding anything, and so, I guess that's a really great place to start a new friendship. I just wonder what Mariah will have to say about it. Tessa and Mariah are moving into the coffee house apartment. Yay! That's so perfect. I love it. I hope we actually see it. Unlike Nate's ugly purple lamps, which we will never see Elena sneak into the dumpster. Ooh, please, let's get that set. Please, let's get that set. I really, me, I've been saying, I really thought that apartment was going to go to Noah. But that doesn't mean that that he won't be there all the time. I think that the reintroduction of the coffee house apartment, if we do actually see it, spells big drama for Mariah and Tessa. Something is going to happen here. Gosh, at the very least, just let it be a hangout spot for the 20-somethings of the town. Like, have some parties there or something. But I think we can see the writing on those walls that either Noah's feelings for Tessa are going to hit a boil over point, or the drama is just going to be centered around family building and how that's going to present a challenge for the girls. Maybe both. I don't know. Either way or both ways, I'm in. I'm unpacking my suitcase in the coffee house apartment as we speak. I'm ready to have some sex on the sofa. Let's go. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Sharon, for making this happen, for giving us the moving in and for giving us the moving on advice to Elena, and for embracing Mariah and Tessa in this next stage of their life. I just love it. Thank you, Sharon. How about just now prepare to be a grandma, maybe? Sharon can now bring it full circle and just prepare to be a grandmother. All is well with the world, right? I don't know, though. I think Sharon's advice to Mariah and Tessa is a little bit foreboding, though, because the girls announced their intention to adopt this week. And Sharon was warning them about how difficult that can be. And it is true. It can be really hard. And it can challenge everything of you. I mean, there are a lot of hoops to jump through. And sometimes just when you think you're at the finish line, you're not. I've known a couple of people who have fostered children and then have gone on to try to adopt. And it's just a real emotional roller coaster, and I think it's a process that will rip your heart out and hand it to you. So if that does happen, Mariah and Tessa could be in for some real vulnerability on both of their parts, and it could be a real challenge for their relationship. And it doesn't help that there's a sexy, brooding artist out there waiting to comfort Tessa with open arms. How about that? Sharon could become a grandmother in 2022. There's a prediction for you. Oh, Sharon is a grandmother. Well, Ray's kind of wishing that he could make Sharon a mother again, I think. Yeah. Ray's opening up to Chelsea of all people. Finally a scene between Chelsea and Ray. It's just what I was hoping for. Maybe all hope is not lost. There's so much to dig into here, especially when it comes to Ray. Ray is maybe still looking for a chance to be a dad. That's been a little kernel of Ray's character for quite a long time now. Ray has always wanted to be a dad, but it hasn't happened for him yet. You never know. Even if it doesn't happen with Sharon, maybe Ray and Chelsea could have a one-night stand. Gosh, I would love to see Ray get to fulfill his dream of becoming a father, but then if he had a one-night stand with Chelsea and she got pregnant, then he'd be stuck with Chelsea forever, and that just seems like a horrible fate. I don't want to stick anybody with Chelsea forever at this point. Gosh, we've seen how Chelsea reacts to her exes. It's a little extreme. But my goodness, Sharon and Nick are definitely spending some time together, and it looks like Sharon's going to be spending some extra time with Christian. Nick has asked Sharon to watch Christian while he goes to Milan to visit with Summer. That's a pretty big ask, really. Can you watch a toddler for a week? Sure, no problem. I don't understand why Nick couldn't just take Christian with him to Milan. That way, Christian could see the sights and sounds of Milan and whoop it up with Harrison for the new year. That sounds perfect. Oh, there has to be a reason that Nick has asked Sharon. It's their continued bond. Christian's staying with Sharon and Ray. Because it could go one of two ways. Because it could either just continue to be the obvious path of Nick and Sharon continuing to bond, but it might also be that Ray could bond with Christian, or Ray and Sharon could bond with Christian and decide to have a child of their own, if not biologically, then through adoption. Like side-by-side adoptions with Mariah and Tessa. You just never know. Truth is, we're all predicting that Sharon and Nick are going to be back together in the new year, and Ray's going to continue to feel like an outsider in that relationship. But the truth is also that viewers have been counting out Sharon and Ray for more than a year now, and still, here we are. They're still together, stronger than ever, maybe very well ready to start a new chapter in their life together. Oh, so Phyllis did not spend Christmas with the Abbotts. See, last week I thought that all of her protesting with Jack, Jack invited her and she was protesting, and I thought, well, it's probably just a precursor right there. She's protesting, but, she will have been sitting at the table right next to Jack carving the Christmas ham. I figured that was a foregone conclusion, but no, Phyllis did not spend Christmas with Jack. But Lauren is now encouraging her to get cracking on making some New Year's Eve plans with Jack, the little matchmaker that Lauren always is when it comes to Jack's love life. And it seems like maybe if we hadn't been preempted on Friday, then maybe we would have gotten a surprise midnight encounter between Phyllis and Jack. It kind of seems also like Adam and Sally's New Year's Eve Halloween bash got preempted too. Okay, it's kind of annoying that Adam and Sally have no home to party in, but it's also kind of freaking adorable that one of them put up Halloween decorations in the office that we saw in the previews for next week. Halloween New Year's. You know, because it's not a New Year's Eve date. Sally got an invitation to do something for New Year's Eve with Chloe and Kevin and Michael and Lauren, but Sally instead wanted to do nothing with Adam instead. And do nothing apparently means watch horror movies, eat pizza, and try not to rip each other's clothes off. Uh-huh. Well, when Chelsea found out about the non-date, she was ready to rip someone's head off. I think Chelsea could very easily turn this whole thing into a horror film. Oh, Chelsea. Why is she doing this? Why does she want Adam? Why is she doing this? I'm getting bunny boiler vibes from her right now. Like, if I can't have you, no one can. Fatal Attraction. It needs to be done. Sorry. It needs to be done. Chelsea blew it with Adam. Adam blew it with her. It's over. It's not even a proper love triangle in my mind, because I just don't even think anybody's rooting for Adam and Chelsea to get back together. Unless I'm wrong. Unless I'm wrong. Are you rooting for them to get back together? Now, there's a place for a proper poll. This is a proper poll that we got to get going here. Do you want to see Adam with Chelsea have a reunion of their family, a proper reunion of their family, or do you want to see Adam move on with Sally? There's no other options. It's Adam and Chelsea or Adam and Sally. You have to pick one, so which one are you going to choose? YRChat.com. Go cast your vote. Who would you rather see Adam with? The old love of Chelsea or the new romance with Sally? I cannot believe that Victoria busted Billy's apple juice drinking. He was at the bar, keeping up the ruse, and when she tried to grab his drink, it spilled, and the smell of sweet apples filled the air. And Victoria was like, "Why do you smell like moths?" That's an apple juice brand, Mott's. Oh, that part of the story was so ridiculous. I hope that the society bartender saw that exchange go down, saw Billy get busted, because that guy deserves a big tip. And he deserves the satisfaction of seeing Billy get busted. Because that bartender got put through the humiliation of having to pour apple juice into a lowball glass under the bar, real sly-like, and then charging him probably $5 for that glass of apple juice. I mean, that bartender had to have been rolling his eyes thinking, this is not in my job description. I'm a skilled bartender. It is not in my job description to pour apple juice for children. Oh. Oh my goodness. Well, secret's out. And Victoria agrees to keep Billy's secret if there's something in it for her. So Victoria tells Billy she'll keep his secret. In fact, she wants him to up the ante. She wants him to play an even bigger screw up. Also that she can bait Adam. Adam's not been taking the bait. Adam's been dragging his heels on this whole thing. So Victoria wants Billy to up the ante, become a bigger screw up, and then when Adam does take the bait, then she wants Billy to turn around and sue Newman Media, and then she can swoop in and pick the remains of that company. You know, Victoria is something else. This whole time, you know, we keep having our eye on Ashland. We keep waiting for Ashland to make a move, and maybe now that his cancer is in official remission, he will be able to make a move. But I think Victoria is becoming the one to watch here. And Lily knows it. Lily tells Billy that he should not take Victoria's deal. Victoria is only in this for herself. And also, Lily had this great line of saying that everybody in Victoria's life are all just pawns in her game. Her father, her ex-husbands, her husband, everybody. They're all just pawns in Victoria's game. And according to Lily, Victoria does not care one little bit about helping to restore Billy's reputation. And at best, all Billy can really hope for is that Victoria will let him run Newman Media after she's folded the whole thing back into Newman Enterprises. Well, I agree with Lily 100% in practical terms, but I have to say the more that we turn up the dial on this crackpot plan, the more entertaining it does become. I cannot believe I picked a Who Said It quote that stumped most of you. When the stakes are high enough, I can be very sneaky. Now, there are just so many candidates of who that could have been, when the real sneaky truth is that it was Ms. Nikki Newman who said it. She was commenting about how she got Nick and Victor to talk to each other. She was saying, well, when the stakes are high enough with my family, I can be very sneaky. I can't believe only Henry and Diane K got it right. You guys guessed it. That is so good. I never know if it's going to be a hard one or an easy one, but boy, I guess it was a hard one and you guys nailed it. So extra big congratulations to Henry and Diane K, and let's see if you can do it again. I think this one might be hard, but it just kind of feels like a good line to start off the new year with. My motto is, bring it on. Who said it? My motto is, bring it on. If you think you know, go to yrchat.com, leave your guess, and if you get it right, then I will give you your very own shout out during next week's Y&R Chat. And now, on to comments, starting with Superplex, who says simply, Lily in her Jordache jeans. That's a great fun comment. Just simply, Lily in her Jordache jeans. Can we please appreciate Lily in her Jordache jeans? Yes! Boy, I had my eyes on those jeans too. She looks good in everything. But, it's like sometimes we don't really see our characters wearing denim. Denim's just not really, I guess maybe, we sort of upscale it. They're usually pretending to do some work. So we don't see a lot of jeans. So when a character actually does put on jeans, it's like, whoa. And then Lily wears those jeans to the nth degree. They looked so good. Henry says, I am so happy when Victoria busted Billy, discovering that he was drinking apple juice. It then took no time for her to put this scam together. However, I'm not comfortable with Victoria going along with the scam. It made more sense when she initially told him, why don't you just get another job? And also when she told him, and I'm paraphrasing, I knew you would do something stupid. Yeah. Superplex makes a good point here, too, saying Billy's ambition to take control of Newman Media and to continue to circle inside of Victoria's orbit is about as dumb as an idea as Abby's decision to accept Devon's sperm donation offer. It sends all the wrong signals, and those signals should be evident to anyone with more than 2 functioning brain cells. Obviously, a situation like this is rife with cheating opportunities. If Billy set out initially to maintain his relationship with Victoria on a professional basis, there is always the ever-present danger that she could have misinterpreted his intentions and try to ensnare him in a love triangle. So why bother assuming the risk? Especially given the fact that Lily has already extended an offer to work at Chancellor Industries, which should be a much more prestigious opportunity than working in a media company. If Billy is sincere, which I believe he is, when he expresses his love for Lily, he should know better than to risk his relationship with Lily just to outwit and humiliate Adam and Victor. That's exactly the essence of it, Superplex. He's risking his relationship with Lily to outwit and humiliate Adam and Victor because, as you point out, taking a job as a COO of Chancellor Industries seems like it would be a more prestigious position. He would be working with the woman he loves. That seems like the better opportunity for him professionally and personally. But no, what Billy wants is to try to scheme and scam and partner with Victoria if he has to get back at Adam and Victor. He wants to take away something from them the way they took away something from him. Well, Ellen says, wow, am I getting my wish? Chance and Adam, bromance rekindled. 2022 is looking better already. My cold Maine winter heating up. Yeah, I think that scene with Adam and Chance establishes a little something. It wasn't fully there, but it's going to get there, I think. And it's good because I think Chance needs someone on a friendship level to talk to, as does Adam needs someone at a friendship level to talk to. These guys are always so embroiled in their family drama, and I think they need a bro to just be able to chat with, someone who is more of a neutral party so they can come together and talk and just get some exposition. And, oh my goodness, I mean, if we're talking friendships and you're getting your wish, am I getting my wish? I mean, that's my question. Is it going to be Chelsea and Ray developing a friendship too that may very well lead to more? I think that Chelsea having a relationship with Ray would maybe sell me back on Chelsea. Hopping Chelsea right back into the same old just ain't working for me. I'm just not into it at all. But if we move Chelsea into something new and fresh, I think that's just the thing I would need to revitalize my interest in Chelsea. And yeah, I know Y&R's going in a direction of this rivalry with Sally, and it all makes logical sense, but just it doesn't make emotional sense to me. I want something new and different for Chelsea. And Shelly says, whoa, did you guys see that? Was that a smile on Ray's face? I think it was a smile. I'm not quite sure what his smile looks like because it's been so long, but I'm certain that there was a big one there when he was talking to Chelsea. What we have all been speculating about. And so it begins. Or does it? I hope so! I want a friendship that then leads to more and sells me back on Chelsea. Tina Cole says, how Chelsea is acting about wanting to be with Adam is so toxic. She's coming off as controlling on not wanting Adam to date Sally, like she has any say on who he can or cannot date. In her mind, he is not allowed to move on or be with anybody else, and Sally better watch out because when Chelsea feels another woman is taking Adam from her, poisoning becomes involved. Just let this man have some sex on the couch with Sally. Yes, I failed to think last week when we were talking about this that there is a couch in Adam's office, so... At the very least, next week there might be some smoochins on that couch. I want smoochins! At least some smoochins after their Halloween, New Year's Eve horror fest. Well, Gary says, if Adam and Sally are watching Alfred Hitchcock's Marnie for New Year's Rockin' Eve, will they recognize Melody Thomas in it? Ooh, A+, Gary. You get the gold star of the week. I never would have put that together on my own. Yes, I know Melody Thomas was in Alfred Hitchcock's Marnie, and Adam and Sally were kicking back and forth some Hitchcock movies they could watch. That had to have been a little Easter egg. There's no way that the Y&R writers didn't know exactly what they were saying when they wrote that line, and you caught it. Very good. I did not catch it. But there are some photos in Melody Thomas Scott's book of her on the set with Hitchcock. I think she said she didn't like him. I think she said he was physically moving her around in scenes, and he was sort of physically rough with her. So I think that's not necessarily a positive experience being on that set for her, but it certainly is iconic. Well, let's move on and talk about good old Chloe, because Diana says, does anyone else find Chloe to be overbearing and annoying with her probing questions about Adam to Sally? She's supposed to be Sally's business partner, not her busybody mother. I'm surprised Sally puts up with Chloe's meddling and hasn't put her in her place yet. Better yet, Sally should just keep her relationship with Adam quiet. Sally's personal life is not any of Chloe's business. Chelsea and Chloe are friends, so I have a better understanding of Chelsea tolerating Chloe's lectures. But either way, Chloe needs to focus on her own husband and kids and leave her friends and coworkers alone to make their own decisions in their love life. Yeah, no kidding. I mean, does anybody else find Chloe overbearing and annoying? Yeah! At this point, yeah, which is such a shame because I think she's a great actress. I really like her so much more, even just within the last 5 years, the little bits that we've seen of her. I really like Elizabeth Hendrickson. I think she's funny with Kevin. I liked being able to see Kevin this week, too. But, of course, the whole time, all Chloe's doing is talking about how she's going to get these girls away from Adam. And if she can't get through to the girls, then maybe she'll just go nag Adam about it. That's Chloe's New Year's resolution. Get out there and nag Adam more. She's already nagged Sally and Chelsea to the end of time, but, you know, maybe she could do a little bit more nagging on Adam. Yay! Can't wait to see that. Can't wait to endure that. Well, Sharon says, we Tessa and Sally fans just got our wish fulfilled. We have been saying since Sally came to town that she should make friends with Tessa. I loved it when Sally mentioned that she found a kinship with Tessa when Tessa stole the words from Mariah's journal and wrote a hit song. The good old days. But, of course, creepy and rude Noah had to ruin it. I see that they're going to be starting the trend of Noah showing up uninvited. Oh yeah, you know Noah's gonna be knocking at that coffee house apartment door. But that's funny because I just never really made the connection between Sally and Tessa before, but now that it's here, I'm like, oh, it feels like it always should have been here. So I enjoyed that too. Victoria says the exchange between Tessa and Sharon was very touching. Tessa poured her heart out. She voiced her appreciation for all of Sharon's support, and Tessa has grown from an insecure schemer to someone with a sweet, warm vibe. It will be nice to have someone staying over at the coffee house now that Lola is in Miami. I look forward to more tete-a-tetes between Tessa and the citizens of Genoa City. Tessa's the breakout star. She certainly is the breakout star. Yes, I like that we're getting to know her more. And, I mean, she's sort of the heart and soul of her set of storylines. I mean, right there along with Sharon. It makes, like, those are heartwarming scenes, seeing Tessa and Sharon talking together, because they're actually both very similar now. They're very soulful. They're very intuitive. They're very, wear their heart on their sleeve. I like that about both of them. But Superplex says about Tessa's album cover, that cover still looks as bad as the first one. It does. It doesn't look all that much different from the first one. Diana says, I was thinking about Tessa's album cover and believe it should have a picture of a diary on it, as album covers often match the title of the album. Tessa's giant face just doesn't fit the bill. A picture of a diary sitting on top of a table in a small town coffee shop seems more suitable to the album title and to Tessa's life. The coffee shop is where she got her start in both music and her personal life. Yeah, I totally agree. I think the album image is way off of what and who Tessa is. I think it's way off of even just what I've heard of her music. I don't like the cover of the album, and I don't like the album title, City Diaries. I guess because it's a play on Genoa City, but, it takes us back to, well, is Genoa City a big, booming metropolitan city, or is Genoa City a small town? It's kind of all of the above. It's both. It's a tiny little small town where everybody knows each other, one horse town, and it's also like this booming metropolis. And it just something about the title, something about the album cover doesn't really seem to fit Tessa. I don't like it at all. Sherrod says, I'm sure Kate Fairbanks is cringing inside with this show's album nonsense. Her real life artwork and album titles are way more cooler. Yeah, I have no doubt about it. It's lame. It's lame. Let's be real. It's lame. Oh, Sherrod gave us a really kind of juicy digging in on Mariah and Tessa, which I love because I just think Mariah and Tessa specifically, they're the characters to watch this year. Tessa specifically, characters to watch this year. And Sherrod says, okay, sure. When this happened, Tessa and Mariah tell Sharon that they've talked about having children for a while now. Lies. Just last year when Lola asked them at Society when Abby was talking about wanting to have a baby, she asked them had they ever thought about having kids. They clearly answered, we've never talked about it. Okay, I'm going to pause there because I noticed that too. Sharon was, asking them, about, they were talking to Sharon about their decision to have children, and it was like, oh yeah, we've totally been talking about it for a while now. No, you weren't. No, you weren't. Sherrod goes on to say, but I do love Sharon's support of the girls. Again, Noah, the creeping interpreter, showing up when he's absolutely not wanted. I thought Tessa told him earlier in the day that she loves the cover art and sent it to Devon. Clearly, Noah's remark about him adoring her made Tessa feel uncomfortable, and the look Noah gave Mariah when she first walked on the patio was like if looks could kill. Sadly, Tessa will, of course, not say anything to Mariah because for the first time in her life, she feels like she's a part of a family and she will not want to mess that up. And I don't think Mariah or any of the family members would believe her anyway. Ooh, okay, I gotta stop there because it's so interesting. Because we've had a couple of points where Tessa's seeing Noah look at her and she seems to almost be going, okay. And I've sort of interpreted it as she's just like not sure it's there, doesn't want to really dig in. It's kind of, she's filing it under, okay, but doesn't affect me. Tessa's in love with Mariah. She has plans with Mariah, but it is a little bit of a, okay. But I think it's interesting that what you're reading into it is that it's making Tessa uncomfortable and that she's going to not say anything about it because she feels like she's finally part of this family. Things are finally going right for her. So Tessa may just kind of sweep it under the rug and not try to acknowledge it. I think that's an interesting reading of that situation too. Sherrod also says she thinks Noah's going to take advantage of it. He realized with the stunt on the album cover that Tessa's afraid to speak up about things that will cause conflict. But hopefully this is where that kinship with Sally Spectra will come in handy. Tessa can talk with Sally about what she believes is going on with Noah, and Sally will most likely believe her because she's seen the rude side of Noah. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. That Tess is uncomfortable with it, that it's totally unrequited. I guess that's the question, isn't it? Is it totally unrequited from Tessa? We can tell Noah loves Tessa. But how does Tessa feel about Noah? Is it totally unrequited, or is she is she kind of interested in it? I think that's a really good question. Diana says maybe Noah doesn't really have feelings for Tessa like he claims. Maybe he wants to get back at her and Mariah for what they did to him. See, that's another interesting reading of it, or at least a possibility. So much of what's going on between Noah and Tessa is just, we're left with the impression it's just a look or a comment. I mean, we sort of infer things that we know about soap operas and what directions we think things might go in, but nothing's really been explicit yet. So again, like I say, I feel like this is the story to watch. This is the story that makes me excited. This is the story I want to talk about, because I just feel like something's gonna happen here and I can't wait for it. It's building, and just like the Devon custody thing kind of popped this week, I'm really excited for when this storyline pops. Well, Victoria says, the most shocking thing to happen all year on my Y&R was yesterday. Hearing Mariah and Tessa call Sharon Grandma was quite a shock. If I were Sharon, I would be scanning the lists of suitable names to replace the word grandma. It just doesn't suit. Yeah, the notion, I think that shocked everybody, the notion of, oh gosh, Sharon's gonna be a grandma. I mean, honestly, at this stage in her soap opera career, it's more shocking that she has not been a grandma yet. Nikki was a grandma by age 40 when Sharon and Nick had Noah. But so Sharon Case is 50. She got a bonus 10 years out of avoiding grandma. Yeah, it's shocking that she's 50. She just really, truly does not look 50. Her skin looks so good, and of course, I mean, I know at this point everybody kind of gets work done, but there's just something about Sharon Case that she still has this very, I don't know, maybe naive or girlish quality about her. Like, she turns on her smile and she's a little girlish. I mean, girls are girls all the way, but yeah, I mean, there's something about her that is a little bit, still just so darn kiddish, a little childish, I guess, but it's charming on her. Oh, okay, let's change directions here. Victoria says, what a nice cousin Nate is. He stopped by Devon's to check on him and make sure that he's okay. In return, Devon teases him about his taste in lamps. Nate ignored the rib and helped Devon get in touch with his feelings. I disagree with Nate's advice. I don't agree that Devon should do something about it, but the only thing Devon should do is talk about his feelings and give Amanda his attention. Yeah, T. Nicole, totally. I mean, a lot of people did not agree with Nate's advice, and as the week went on, you could tell Nate realized that maybe he gave Devon some unhealthy advice. All Nate really did was tell Devon the thing that he wanted to hear. Let's be honest. Devon wanted to hear that. That's all it took. He just needed somebody to tell him that it was okay to feel the way that he's feeling, and then it was okay to go ahead and pursue it and ask for more. And Nate gave him that. But thank you, Nate, for lighting the fuse on this storyline, finally. Well, Naomi was commenting on Chance's scene where Dom was kind of crying uncontrollably and Chance didn't know what to do, and then Devon, walks through the door and there he was trying to comfort him, and Naomi says, 2 men and a crying baby. Chance has panic in his eyes. Very realistic, as I have witnessed new dads with that same look. I hope the writers let Chance find his way with Dom instead of creating a lack of bonding storyline. Nina needs to come back and help Chance, as only a mother can. She can help him with this much better than Abby. Yes, Naomi, on a couple of points. I think that Y&R is doing right by Chance by not denying him the bonding. I mean, we saw the panic in his eyes. I screen capped a look on it. I mean, there was a moment at the coffee house, and then there was a moment at home, and he really did show panic of, I don't know what to do here. And I mean, you could have had the baby for, you could have been the mother who gave birth to the baby and still have that moment. I mean, there's just some times where there's just nothing you can do. The baby is crying, and there's nothing you're gonna do to solve it. And I saw that panic in Chance's eyes, but But to Y&R's credit, I think they're doing a good job of having Chance persevere. I mean, he's having a hard time, but that's not stopping him from trying, and it's not stopping him from bonding. So I agree. I hope we continue on the track of I think it's a more emotionally meaty if both Abby and Chance have that bond with their baby, but it's just that Devon has it too. And Devon is kind of a third party to the whole situation. I asked you guys last week, do you want Devon to have shared custody of Dominic? 78% of you said no. 22% say yes, probably voting for the drama there. I think logically most people are like, no. Y&R viewer 123 says no. Devon knew the rules. Amanda told him everything. Amanda even asked him if he was sure about this, and he said yes. He agreed to all the rules stated in the contract. He shouldn't have shared custody. Isn't his role as the donor and godfather enough? He was given the opportunity to back out, but he agreed to be the donor. Yep. Heather says, I think it's so low. Devon is BFFs with Abby. He offered to help her out. Now after being without Chance and doing this alone, she has her husband back. And Devon won't allow Chance to have a minute to adjust? It's really awful. I can't believe this storyline. We're supposed to believe this holier-than-thou character is going to try to steal someone else's baby because he thinks their parenting is not up to par. Ooh, and Gary says, who cares what Devon thinks of your parenting skills? He is entitled to absolutely no opinion. He went to a sperm bank, dropped it off, and now he has no claim. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's just, you know what it is? It's because of the friendship. I mean, it's black and white when you're not choosing a friend to get involved with this. Now Abby is trying to accommodate Devon's feelings on the whole thing because she cares about him too. That's the piece that actually gets us to somewhere where there's some emotional grit. We can actually get some traction. Abby loves Devon too. Abby loves her husband, she loves her baby, but she loves Devon too. She doesn't want to ignore his feelings. She wants to try to give him what he needs too. She's a mother. At this point, she's sort of the mother of the house of the Chancellors. And she wants to help Devon facilitate a relationship with Dominic, but now she's being put into an awkward position where she's sort of having to choose. That's where it gets good. Ellen says that the mother of a newborn under extreme stress can trust a longtime friend who is the child's godfather should be a given. For Devon to turn around after Chance has barely begun to adjust to fatherhood and expect joint custody is so selfish. Don't be a donor if you can't accept the limits of the role. Get therapy. Don't insert yourself into a family's life beyond what is welcome. Make a family of your own. There are many foster children who need a father, or you can have a biological children of your own if that's so important. Just stop it, Devon. Just stop it, Devon. Maybe that's what Abby needs to say to him. I agree. I think he does need that reality check. I totally get where he's coming from emotionally, but I do think somebody needs to give him a reality check. The timing is bad. The fact that he's doing it now is really bad. If this was happening 5 years down the road, all right, maybe. But again, the piece that sticks with me is that he's asking for it in writing. That's what bothers me. The rest of it doesn't bother me. He can develop the relationship with Dominic totally naturally. He doesn't need to ask to have it written down on a little notepad and notarized or whatever. All he has to do is say, guys, how about I take Dom for the night? Y'all are looking tired. Why don't you have some romance? I'll take him. Cool, Uncle Devon. That would be on brand. That would make everybody comfortable. But that's not what Devon is doing. He's saying, can we get the lawyers involved and amend this thing? Because I'm desperate. It's desperate. And you could see Devon's desperation in the wringing of the scarf. He has to get it down on paper because he's terrified he's going to lose it. The closer and closer that Abby and Chance become with Dominic, he realized he becomes more and more obsolete. He becomes more and more of an outsider. And now he's desperately clinging to anything he can cling to. And the only thing he's got is a black and white contract. So that's why he's trying to put it there. Not cool. It's not cool, Devon. Henry says, I truly hope that Devon will bow out of Abby and Chance's life because he's becoming a nuisance. Why doesn't he just focus on having a kid with Amanda? Oh, yeah. I mean, totally. Why doesn't Devon just focus on having a kid with Amanda? Well, Amanda may not want that, for one thing. I mean, that's kind of what Mariah's situation was. That's exactly what Mariah tried to do. And Tessa wasn't into it at first. So, I mean, we could be playing out the exact same storyline with Devon and Amanda that we did with Tessa and Mariah. It's just, it's good drama. And Gary says Y&R will do what they have to do to find a way to burst Abby's bubble and destroy her happiness. That's for sure. Because now the real story begins. Amen. Now the real story begins. And actually, Sharon left a comment that kind of theorized what the case might be from Devon's perspective. And I think this is interesting because it's like, well, they got a contract. I mean, how are we going to get around any of this? The contract was ironclad. But Sharon says maybe the baby being left behind by the mother to fly clear across the country to find a man that she was told had died, that he helped bring the child into the world, that the mother had poor judgment allowing a kidnapper into her home, and that the father is suffering from PTSD, and mainly, I'm the biological father. Yeah, I mean, that probably is it. I mean, like Chance said, you never know what could happen. I mean, none of us thought anything of the past year was going to happen. Chance kind of mentioned that. So maybe that is going to be a crux of it. The fact that, maybe Devon is going to argue that the mother showed some poor judgment and how that went down, which is really going to be so heartbreaking if he dares try to throw that into Abby's face. But you know what's the bigger thing would be the fact of everything that happened with Stitch. Sherrod, yes. The fact that Stitch came into the home and kind of kidnapped the baby. That would be the real... And maybe that's why Victor mentioned it a couple of weeks ago. That might be the real kicker. Because the thing with Stitch is pretty concrete. I mean, and that's pretty bad. That shows lack of judgment probably way more than anything that happened with Chance and her going to Spain. But at the same time, even that's not... It's just not enough of a leg to stand on. I mean, Abby didn't tell Stitch to kidnap Mariah. She didn't want him to. I mean, anybody could be manipulated, and Stitch was a manipulator. So I don't know. It's so good. It's so good. I'm fine. I'm so finally glad to be excited about this storyline. This is going to be really, really brewing and heating up finally. We started this whole thing in 2020, and now we're actually getting somewhere in 2022. Well, now, as you know, this is the week to make our 2022 predictions. Where are we going for the year? Go to yrchat.com. Leave me all of your juicy predictions. The more wild, the better. I love, not just predicting a couple weeks out. Where are we going to be at the end of 2022? Who's going to be together? Who's going to break up? Are we going to have any weddings, any babies? What types of business or legal or medical storylines? What do you think's going to happen? Get your crystal balls and go to yrchat.com to leave your predictions for the upcoming year. But before we totally leave 2021 behind, let's read some of our predictions from 2021. Okay, so I kind of got them broken down by topic here, and I'm just going to read them, and we'll find out what came true and what did not. Starting with Colleen, who says, who predicts Sharon and Ray's New Year's marriage doesn't last until the New Year 2021. So Colleen predicted that Sharon and Ray getting married on New Year's 2020 would not last to New Year's 2021. Ooh, can you believe it? See, that just highlights it all right there. We have been predicting doom for Sharon and Ray for a year now, and they're still together. T. Nicole says the Adam, Sharon, and Chelsea love triangle will still continue. Chelsea's brain surgery will not go as planned, and she will go into a coma and lose her memory. This will cause Adam and Sharon to get closer. Sharon and Ray's wedding may happen, but I don't think they'll be together by the end of next year. Ray will get together with Victoria. Oh yeah, I mean, we kind of saw the writing on that wall there. The Adam, Sharon, and Chelsea triangle was real big 1 year ago, and a lot of us were saying Ray and Victoria. I kind of still wish that could happen. Sam predicts Adam stays in Genoa City and he tries to manage life without Chelsea. He begins to feel lonely in life and turns to Sharon for psychiatric help. Sharon refuses since she doesn't want any friction between her and Ray. And disappointed, Adam turns to Lola, using her for bait to get to Ray. Oh, dang, that would have been good. That would have been a good twist. But remember, I mean, we did have Adam and Sharon, which would be a good combined name for them. We did have Adam and Sharon's psychiatric sessions. She did not, though, deny those psychiatric sections. No, they did not have sex, but she did not deny him for Ray's sake. She went full steam ahead with him, so there's some kernels of truth in there. Oh, Henry predicted that Adam would be found innocent regarding Delia's death. I think we get that prediction like once a year, because it never sat right with me either. I mean, we all know that was a big old blah of a storyline. Maybe someday, Henry, maybe someday. Well, Faith was just starting to get a little out of control last year at this time, and Marianne V predicted that Faith would be on a downward spiral, and Nick and Sharon would have to work together to prevent another death like Cassie's. Yep, that happened. That certainly happened. Sharita says, I want Faith to get a boyfriend. I'd love to see maybe Sophia and her son come back into the Winters family, and the son can be Faith's boyfriend. I'd love for him to be in a little trouble from losing Neil, and Devon needing to be a father figure role model for him. Oh, Sharita! I mean, that is the kind of crystal ball crystallization I'm looking for with these predictions. Can you believe that? Whoever would have guessed besides Sharita that Sophia and Moses, well, we didn't see Sophia, but Moses would come back and become Faith's boyfriend, and Devon being the father figure. He wasn't a troubled youth. That's the only part of it that wasn't exactly correct. But boy, I love that. And here's another prediction I would have loved to have come true from Victoria, who predicts that Kane Ashby returns. The return of Kane Ashby in 2021. Soon after Lily and Billy announce their engagement, we see an apartment door opening, and in walks a man holding a young boy's hand. As the camera focuses on them, we see it is Kane and Sam. The phone rings, and Victoria asks him if he's ready for their plan to take place. Kane and Victoria try to break up Lily and Billy, but end up falling in love. I wish, if I could get a wish, I wish it was that. That would have been so darn good. And so last year, they mentioned it last week, last year at this time, Billy and Lily were just starting, and Kane hadn't been gone all that long. So we did have a couple of predictions from last year that Kane would be returning to the show, and that did not happen. But we did get an update on Kane this past week. He's in Hawaii, surfing with Maddie and Charlie, but not Sam. We don't mention Sam. I think everybody just forgot about Sam. You know, I know Brighton James and Daniel Goddard are friends, so you never know. Maybe Brighton will be able to help forge a path for Daniel to come back on the show, and we could get that Billy, Lily, Kane triangle someday. But the real question is, you guys, if Kane returned to the show now, how would he feel about the fact that I have moved on with Nate? That's the real question. That's the real cliffhanger. What happens when Kane comes back and finds me in bed with Nate? Will he feel betrayed? Don't worry, I've got room in my bed for them both. Lynn4283 predicts that Nate will sue Devon because of his hand injury, and he can no longer perform surgery because of it. Yeah, that would have been ideal, wouldn't it? That all just got swept under the rug. Nate's hand, I guess, just works perfectly fine now. A lawsuit or some kind of friction between them really would have been something juicy to pluck out of that action. Sandra has this on her wish list, but it's not a prediction. Devon and Amanda unite as a couple and marry. Amanda gets pregnant on their honeymoon. Yeah, we've been waiting a year for Amanda and Devon to get married. Do you think at the end of 2022, Devon will still be with Amanda? Or will he have moved back with Elena? We did have that moment last week, I think, where Devon seemed to be noting that Nate and Elena are moving on together. So what do you think? Do you think that Amanda and Devon will be getting married in 2022, or will they be done by the end of the year? I think that's a good one to add to your prediction list. Tina Cole predicts Amanda's newfound sister will come into the picture and could get together with Nate. Wow! Tina Cole, dang, right on. That's pretty good too. I don't know if Amani had shown up yet, but the fact that she would hook up with Nate, that's a pretty darn good one. I love it. And Kamna predicts that Jack's new love interest would be Naya. I was kind of hoping for that too, truth be told. I'm still kind of hoping for it. Tina Cole predicts Sally and Jack are going to be the new couple in Genoa City. I don't think it will last long, as her scheming against Kyle and Summer will blow up. Wow, boom, 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 Tina Cole. That's like 2 in a row. Pretty good. Superplex predicts Sally will bed Jack in the hopes that she can displace Kyle as the center of Jack's affections. Exploiting her influence over Jack, she convinces him to institute changes in the hierarchical structure of Jabot, with the goal of placing herself in an advantageous position with regard to Kyle and Lauren. Both quickly recognize that Sally has become their #1 nemesis, and they conspire to bring her down. But their attempts go for naught when Sally announces that she is pregnant. Oh, man, Superflex. I mean, there's so much kernel of things that did happen in there, but really we could have really upped the factor on the oomph factor on the Jack Sally relationship, and getting Kyle in there with his grumps about it. And I think it would have been interesting if Kyle fell in love with Sally in the process. That would have been icky sticky just desserts for Jack. But oh goodness. Well, Allie predicted that Summer and Kyle would say I do, and that Jack would wed a newly cast Lady Love. Well, I guess I got that right on the Summer and Kyle part. I really would have thought they were going to cast somebody new for Jack, as much as they built up what his new love was going to be, and they kind of tried to go there with Sally, and then they pulled the plug on it all and said, give him another redhead, why not? Diana predicts that JT would come back on the scene and be back to his old self after returning from the Peace Corps. He sweeps Ashley off her feet, and with his good looks and charm, we finally have a hot older woman with a younger hot guy on the show. Dang, Diana, man, see, these are so good. This is the stuff that should happen. That's why it's important for you guys to get your predictions in. JT coming back from the Peace Corps, yes, please. Hooking up with Ashley, double yes, please. Oh, my gosh. You guys, go to yrchat.com, because it's going to be fun to read next year. How about some business predictions? Allie predicts that Theo would return to Genoa City with a controlling stake in Jabot and payback for Kyle. Lauren and Summer will work together to save Jabot and Fenmore's from Theo's warpath. Ooh, dang, Allie. Ooh, Allie. Past Allie from 1 year ago. That's pretty good. A lot of us were predicting that Theo would return, though. And we were hoping. It was probably really more of a hope that Theo would return. And having a controlling stake in Jabot and payback for Kyle, that would have been the route to go. We'd still be looking at Jabot right now if that would have happened. We'd still get some stories around Jabot. And we'd have a proper business rivalry with Theo and Jack, Next Generations. The Abbotts would be front and center with all that, but no, Y&R had to go cheap out and get rid of Kyle and Summer when they were a central part of the show in 2021. Big mistake. Colleen predicted that, spurned by Jack and Lauren, Sally would team up with Chelsea and Chloe to compete against Fenmore's and Chabot. Well, Colleen, there's your big prediction of the year, because that sure as heck did happen. Spurned by Jack and Lauren, Sally teams up with Chelsea and Chloe to compete against Fenmore's and Chabot. Yep, Colleen, your predictions are always awesome, and that was a good one. Southside Granny predicted that Billy and Lily were headed to New Orleans when the plane goes down. The only survivor is Billy, who is stabilized and brought back to Genoa City to recover. When Billy recovers and the facial bandages are removed, who is it? None other than Billy Miller. Tracy will step in and up to the plate at Chancellor Communications since Lily was killed off and Billy remains hospitalized. Remember, Tracy is a writer and will and will fit right into place. Ooh, Southside Granny. That's hilarious. You predict that Billy's gonna die, come back as Billy Miller, Billy's gonna come back as Billy Miller, and Lily's gonna die. That's pretty great, but hey, you predicted that Tracy would take a job at Chancellor Communications, and that is dead on. And we haven't even talked about that. Chancecom is down and out. Where's Tracy working? What about the good work that Tracy was doing at Chancecom? Oh, that's a good one, Southside Granny. Well done. Oh. Well, okay, so right at the end of 2021, Abby had just been married. And Abby and Chance were starting to say a lot of things like about their future family. Everybody at the wedding was talking about how they're going to be such great parents one day and blah, blah, blah. It was real clear that Abby and Chance were going to start working on making a family soon. And Colleen predicted pregnancies for both Summer and Lily, but not Abby. That would have made so much sense, and I remember thinking that was the way it was going to go too, that everybody was going to be able to get pregnant except for Abby. Astra predicted, we all know Abby and Chance will have fertility issues, and I think they'll break up by next Christmas. On the flip side, Billy and Lily will get pregnant just because neither of them wants to have any more kids. Yeah, I know. Yeah, that would have been good if we got a baby for Billy and Lily and a baby for Kyle and Summer. Aww, shoot. Well, I'll tell you, this is a darn good prediction for the year from Sherrod, who says, since we all seem to feel that Abby will not be able to get pregnant, my out there prediction for 2021, based on her rather surprising choice for her maid of honor, is that Abby will ask Mariah to be a surrogate for her and Chance. As we all know from a conversation Mariah had with Hillary long ago, she didn't feel she would want to have children, but she agrees to help Abby, and then of course the drama can ensue when Mariah decides she wants to keep the baby. Sherrod, you're killing me. You're killing me. I cannot freaking believe that you predicted the surrogacy story to the T. Dang! The only part of it that you could have added was the Devon, but other than that, oh my gosh. That is so, so good. Woo! Well, Astra had predicted that there would be a writer shakeup this year. And we might start seeing the beginning of a new writing team by the end of now. Well, by now. Yeah, Astra. That's more of a wish list item, I think, from me. But I kind of felt that, too, because it was seeming like, what are these writers doing? Of course, it always sort of seems like that. But I think I had predicted a writer shakeup, too. And shoot, that didn't happen. But you never know. You never know. It seems like the writing team on Y&R for the past several, I don't know, it seems to shake up every couple of years these days. We used to have writers that really stayed on and really knew the stories and cultivated it, and now it seems like they just swap out lickety-split, but we haven't really had that in a couple of years, so we're due. We're due for a writer's shakeup. Well, and ending on this, Superplex's prediction number 1 for 2021 was that there would be more intimacy and less social distancing for the year. Well, I'll say Superplex, that one was dead on too, and thank goodness for it. At this time last year, remember, we were all scooting around, afraid who's close, who gets the intimate scene, who doesn't get the intimate scene, and now here we are, fully back on track. That is a good way to end 2021 and a good way to begin 2022. Your New Year's resolution now is to go to yrchat.com to leave your comments. Comments for the week, comments for your predictions. Now, I'm only going to keep the predictions thread, the post, up for 2 weeks, because at a certain point, we just end up like short-term predicting. So I'm only leaving it up for the next 2 weeks. Then I'm going to lock it down. I'm going to put it in a time capsule, and we're going to look at it 1 year from today. So get in on this, you guys. This is a fun part of Y&R Chat. So go just think about, where we're going to be 2 months, 6 months, 12 months from now. Get in those predictions. Get in your comments for the week. Vote in the poll. Let me know if you're absolutely dying to see Adam and Chelsea back together. It would take some work. It would really take some work. If time is invested, then I know I can get anywhere. I just don't believe that the time is being invested in giving me a good enough darn reason to want Adam and Chelsea back together. But I've already talked about that. Okay, everybody. Once again, Happy New Year. I love you all so much, and I will see you next week. Bye.